The Sirius Mystery, originally written by Robert Temple. Let us take a look now at what the Dogon tribe have to tell us about the amphibious creatures who are credited with founding their civilization as well, and who seem to have come from Sirius. These creatures are credited with having descended in an arc which looked like the whirling of a jet as the arc descended. Before we come to the evidence, I should say a little more about Sirius. About the middle of the last century, an astronomer was looking rather hard at Sirius over a period of time and got annoyed because it wasn't sitting still. It was wobbling. He had a difficult time figuring this out. He finally concluded that an extremely heavy and massive star going around Sirius could make it wobble that way. The only trouble was that there wasn't any large star going around Sirius. Instead, there turned out to be a tiny little thing going around it every 50 years. And so, Sirius came to be called Sirius A, and the little tiny thing became Sirius B. Sirius B was at that time unique in the universe as far as anyone knew. Over 100 of these things have now actually been seen, scattered around the sky, and there are many thousands more which we cannot see even through our modern telescopes because they are so tiny and their light so feeble. They are called white dwarfs. White dwarfs are strange because although they are feeble, they are strong. They do not give out much light, but they are fantastically powerful gravitationally. On a white dwarf, we would not even be a fraction of an inch high. We would be flat, pulled in by the gravity. You see, the big star that was necessary to make Sirius A wobble turned out to be a little thing, but it still had to be as massive and heavy as an ordinary star of much more enormous size. It is, in short, a star so dense and closely packed that it is not even made out of regular matter. It is made out of what is called degenerate matter or superdense matter, where the atoms are pressed together and the electrons squashed. The matter is so heavy that it cannot be thought of in any familiar terms. There is nothing in our solar system to our knowledge comparable to this stuff. It is even claimed by some astronomers that the Sirius system has a Sirius C or a third star. Fox claimed to see it in 1920, and in 1926, 1928, and 1929. It was supposedly seen by Van der Bos, Finson, and others at the Union Observatory. Then, for several years, when it should have been seen, it was not. Zagar and Valach said it was there because there were wobbles that pointed to it, so perhaps it's there and perhaps it isn't. Now we see that the Sirius system is rather interesting and complicated. Only in this century have we advanced towards knowing about degenerate matter and understanding white dwarfs through our researches into nuclear physics. So, we would be surprised, would we not, if someone without our modern science had known as much about the Sirius system as we do. In a very sensible chapter called Possible Consequences of Direct Contact, Sagan says, "While difficult for us to reconstruct from a distance of millions of years, would have been much clearer to a technical civilization greatly in advance of the present one on Earth, which visited us every 100,000 years or so to see if anything of interest was happening lately. Some 25 million years ago, a galactic survey ship on a routine visit to the third planet of a relatively common G-dwarf star, our Sun, may have noted an interesting and promising evolutionary development. The information would have been filtered at the speed of light, slowly, through the galaxy, and a rotation would have been made in some central information repository, perhaps at the galactic center. The Dogon describes Sirius B as the infinitely tiny. As we know, Sirius B is a white dwarf and the tiniest form of visible star in the universe. But what is really the most amazing of all the Dogon statements is this. The star, which is considered to be the smallest thing in the sky, is also the heaviest. Digitaria is the smallest thing there is. It is the heaviest star. It consists of a metal called Sagala, which is a little brighter than iron and so heavy that all earthly beings combined cannot lift it. In effect, the star weighs the equivalent of all the seeds, or of all the iron of the earth. Sirius B is in reality made of a super dense matter of a kind which exists nowhere on Earth. All this forms the most sacred and most secret tradition known to the Dogon, the basis of their religion and their lives. Connected with all this are statements that they make about the existence of a third star in the Sirius system, which they call the Maya star, which, in comparing it to Digitaria, they say is 4 times as light in weight and travels along a greater trajectory in the same direction and in the same time as it, 50 years. Their respective positions are such that the angle of their radii is at right angles. This last star has a satellite, indicating that the Dogon appreciate that bodies, rather than stars, are satellites of stars. Of Maya itself, they say, it is the sun of women, a little sun. In fact, it is accompanied by a satellite which is called the Star of Women, as the guide of the Maya.